There she is. The fair maiden I saw singing the other day. Her voice was as beautiful as Lizzo's. And her skin was so... white?
Yep, I have watched both episodes of Ahsoka. The review is dropping tomorrow. And just before I could catch my breath, guess what? I heard some more news. Apparently Snow White with Rachel Zegler is being delayed. No!
Seeing yourself for the first time in full Snow White drag.
She's just not the fairest.
Wrong.
Tired of the MCU and pop culture disasters? Then watch Jason Dumbass King on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
So this news dropped last night, and while it's not been confirmed by Variety or Deadline, I thought it was very interesting to cover because I do see an element of truth about why this is happening. And of course, if you enjoyed this video today, folks, like you've enjoyed many of my other countless pieces of content out there, like, share, and subscribe. Snow White was... The fact they called it Snow White with the inverted commas is so funny. It was slated for a March release date next year, but it's most likely going to be delayed. Why, do you ask? Well, of course, there is the ongoing actor strike in Hollywood because, you know, those pampered performers aren't getting paid enough. They're being threatened by artificial intelligence. And I'm not going to say this once, but I'm going to say it again when I do my Ahsoka review. I welcome AI. Skynet is a real thing, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we saw it in 1984 and we saw it again in 1991 in the only two Terminator films you need to care about.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day. This time he's back. For good.
Trust me.
And if you do have AI in movies going forward, it's not going to be smart enough to demand a pay rise, is it? So you kind of have a win-win, and I guess you can employ actors to do just the voiceovers so we don't have to see their goddamn faces anymore. Let's face it, folks, masculinity, femininity are all a thing of the past now where it comes to real people in the real world. But speaking of the real world, this is really more like fantasy. A Puck report via The Direct says the movie will now most certainly be delayed to a later date to be determined. They're also probably hoping that people will forget about the bad press the film has gotten in recent months. I've got news for you. No one ever forgets. The internet never forgets. The dwarfs, as we can see pictured here, in a is it a comedy at this stage? Co-written by Greta Gerwig, who is obviously swimming in a sea of money from the success of the Barbie movie. A Barbie movie, by the way, which actually makes men look better in the film and women more insufferable. So, yay, Gerwig, you're kind of champion for the patriarchy. So you're kind of maybe a base woman, maybe. Oh, so Zegler, my girlfriend-to-be. Oh, hi, Zegler. Maybe she and I and Leslie Grace and her man, we can all do a double date. Wouldn't that be so fabulous? And then I can do a kiss test to see who has the worst smelling breath. My bets will be that it'll be Rachel Zegler. I'm pretty sure Leslie Grace has sweet smelling tones coming out from her mouth. But honestly, when Zegler says things like, well, the 1937 film was weird, calling Prince Charming, I keep calling him that, but he's a charming prince in that film, despite the fact she calls him a stalker. How dare you, Zegler, call him a stalker? But even some of the animators who worked on that 1937 original movie, one of them was David Hand, the son of the late David Hand, which is kind of appropriate because that 1937 film was hand animated, called this proposed remake a disgrace, and that Walt Disney and his own father, Mr. Hand, would be turning in their graves if they were alive to witness it. I've got news for you, Hand Jr. They're probably in heaven looking down and slapping their foreheads thinking, what the hell is this? And of course, what was one of the biggest gripes Zegler had about the original 1937 film? The prince kissed Snow White without asking her.
However, I do not have her consent. It's always important to obtain consent.
Isn't one of the essences, one of the core ingredients of romance fiction, novelizations, whatever, is that the charming, mysterious man can sweep the woman off her feet? I know, right? It's such an outdated concept. Even me saying it will probably get me cancelled. But if you look at the 1937 film, which I did a few weeks ago, the fact that Snow White she's dead. She's not even comatose. She's actually dead, but she's encased. And her 7 savers and saviors, who were the male dwarfs, just kept a vigil over her because she was so beautiful, they couldn't bear to put her 6 feet under. The prince came along. He is the true love's first kiss, and he brings her back to life. And that's it. It's based on a grim fairy tale, for goodness sake. So if you want to take an issue with that level of storytelling, maybe contact the Grimm estate and let them know. I'm pretty sure they'll give you 2 fingers and tell you where to stick it. I am not Rachel Zegler's boyfriend, but you know, if she were inclined to date me, I mean, I would bestow her with knowledge, virtue, and life experience, which she severely lacks. I would also take her to a classroom, put her behind a small chair and a desk, and teach her how to grammatize and write paragraphs and sentences with punctuation. Because if you look at her social media posts, everything is lowercase. There are the occasional full stops, but honestly, the only thing that might come to a full stop in the future is Miss Zegler's career. And I do not want to see that happen to her because she's a very impressionable young woman, very insufferable, but with some hindsight from yours truly, Rachel, you can redeem yourself, love. Maybe in 10 years from now when you're a big superstar and you're appearing in films and projects where you're not opening your big gob, you know what? You might be a redeemer. You might be a savior instead of an insufferable martyr. So ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this quick video today regarding me and true love's first kiss, make sure you leave a like below, make sure you slap that subscribe button, and make sure you come around tomorrow for my Ahsoka review of episodes 1 and 2. When I tell you it was like going into the trenches watching those 2 episodes, believe you and me, I'm surprised I did not get constipated. And if I were you, and if you were me, you better come back for the next video.